Hi guys, welcome to part 2. I have done 2 sides and basically Shibori will do what Shibori wants to do, so that's why that's a little puffy and that's not. But the whole trick of it, even if Shibori goes where you really don't want it to go and you want it to look exactly like this, which will be impossible, curve the way you curve this. Well, try at least as much as possible. This needs to come in a little bit, but when I put beads on later on, then I can still manipulate that a little bit more to go to the inside. So, whatever Shibori does, just try to make sure that the curve looks like the curve on your previous one. Okay? So, I'm very happy with that. There's still going to be earrings. Next part is what I wanted to show you in stitches is I got a flat oval bead here and I want to show you how to do a bezel around that. That's basically what I want to show you to start with, and I'm going to take my thread again, about an arm span and a half this time, and run that through my beeswax. And when you've done that, you can put it on your size 10 needle. We're still working with the 10. I'm going to use the 9/0 specifically for when we're going to do the back. Again, I'm going to knot 3 times and not pull it tight. One, 2. Make sure they're on top of each other. And 3. Now you have to determine basically where you want that bead. And I kind of want it to go like this, so I'm going to put my first dot right here. Going in with my needle. And you can't put it too close to your Shibori because you still need to bezel around it. So that's what we're going to do right now. Is I'm going to do this, just kind of like a preview on how to do a bezel, and then later on we're going to do with a Rivoli. But this is easier to start off if you never did a Rivoli or embroidery for that matter. Okay, so I'm going to pull my bead down. That's the way I want it, and I'm going to push it in there, right where I want it to end. I'm going to go up again, and I'm going to make sure that I'm not going through the same hole, but right next to it. And I'm going to go into the hole again. And I'm going to go down in the same spot. Now, next trick is you got to bezel around it. So what you do is you take your marker and you make a circle, and try and keep that tight. Make a circle around it as best as possible. And give it a little bit of space. Because if not, you're going to be under the bead with your bezel. You don't want to do that. So, making that a little thicker. There. And to make a bezel, you will need Delica beads. So I'm going to go with my trusted gold ones, which I know look good with these colors. I'm very bad at color combining, so what I always do is I try to find the colors that will match this. This is kind of a yellow, orange, pinkish thing going on here, so I got like a little pink bead, I got my gold beads, I got some twin beads actually that match the color from a Preciosa box that I want. I got some beige, which will also go with that, I think, and I got a little bit of red to give it a little darker tan, and I got some orange, so I basically, and I got some more beige, so I basically grabbed all the oranges, the reds, and the sort of pinkish colors to see what I will come up with. So that's all in stack. I'm not going to say I'm going to use it all, but it's just me playing safe. Right now I'm going into my outline, and I'm going to use my gold delicas to do the 2 forward and 3 back again. So since it's been 2 days since I've done this, I'm going to check where I need to go down. And you can use like a black marker if you want to put the dots down, because you know, if you use the green marker or a purple marker like I just did, you can still put dots on there. And when you do the first one, you go 2 back, and you go through the 2 you just added. I'm gonna move you towards me a little bit more, because I feel that I'm working towards myself a little bit much with this project, so hopefully I'll stay in frame this time around. Picking up 2 more, and the bezel is always done in 2, so you pick up 2 and you gotta end with 2. Pulling that down, not feeling very secure yet, that I know my distance, and I've gotta go right down there. Going back 3. Into 3. And adding 2. 1, 2. Pulling that down, and right there. Back 3. Through 3. And adding 2. And right there. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more without blurring. Back 3. Through 3. And adding 2. And we're just going to do this all the way around until I get the feel of my delicas. I'm just going to pull them down and just go right there. And if you got room here for just one more, basically that there's the only room, you have to add 2, and if the space is smaller, then just close it up. So I'm gonna go with 2 anyway. Gotta be stubborn about it, because 1 would be too small. And then just kind of go around all the way again. Oops. Gotta be careful that you don't go through the shibori. So, and I just did. Oops, 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 oops. Carefully pull that out if you do that. Do not stick it back with your needle in there, hoping you find the same hole, because you probably won't, and then you will damage it. So, almost all the way around. And I'm going to take it just a little bit further, so it will work easier for tutorial purposes. But basically, if you've gone all the way around, that's all there is to it. Now we're going to top it. So we're going to add 1 to the needle. We're going to skip 1, and if you did peyote before, you will understand this. We're going to skip coming out of this one. We're going to skip that one, and we're going into this one right here. Again, I'm going to add 1 to the needle. Skip this one and go into that one right there. Again, 1 to the needle. Skip this one and into that one right there. And you do that all the way around. And make sure you don't skip any, because it's harder to see like this when you do sort of a bezel than when you do a bezel for a rivoli to make a pendant. So this is easily, you can easily skip a bead here because it's really hard to see. So skipping 1, grabbing 1. Skipping that one, need to grab that one. Skipping that one, grabbing that one. Skipping that one, grabbing that one. Skipping that one, grabbing that one. Skipping that one and grabbing that one. That's my doggy snoring. Skipping that one, grabbing that one. Skipping that one, grabbing that one. And now we're going to step up. Picking up 1, we're skipping this one, we're going into the next one, like now we finished our round, but we can't go anywhere because there's a bead on top of here, so that's in the way. So you need to go also in that next bead. And now we have 1 row down, and it's easier to see now because basically the next row you're going to go in between where the big holes are. So grabbing 1 and going into the next one right here. Grabbing another bead into the next one right there. Ooh. Grabbing another one. And it depends on how thick your stone is. You'll find out when you go along with this if you need to do another row, but 3 is good enough for this bead that I just added, and then I can close it up. So basically we're going around now. This is row number 3. Going in between. And here I bump into my last one. And again, I'm going into the one that I need to go in, and I'm stepping up. So I'm going into 2. Let me see if the best way to show that to you, right there. So going into that one and stepping up in the next one. I'm going to pull that tight, and I'm going to close that up. And I'm going to close that up with 15 beads. So let's see what I got that will match that. Maybe some... Should I put some red on there? Why not? So now again we go in between the beads, and you got to be really careful. And pull that through. Next one. Next one. Keep skipping that one. It's kind of hard to see because normally when you have a regular bezel you will work from the side and it's easier to see, but now you have to look on the top and hope that you don't make any mistakes. And again, you go into the gold and you step up in the red. And you pull that tight. And that stone is in there very nicely. And there, you did your first bezel of embroidery with bead on the earring. So now we're going to go take it down, the needle, with the thread, and you're just going to do it the way you would do it when you would be regularly bezeling. So just go all the way in a diagonal version, in a diagonal route, all the way down, and put that needle back in there, and then just go underneath it, scoop that thread around there, a little further up, and just pull it through. And just cut that off. And there you have it. And now you need to fill up the rest. So I've checked out several embroidery videos, and what I like best is to go with the flow. Basically that means that all the beads go into the direction that the shibori is going. So that means beads have to go that way. Okay, so from here on, that way. From there on, that way. Of course you can do things differently. You can go each and every way if you would like that. But I'm going to go and go with the flow. I'm going to stick in, starting right here where the outer circle is, and I'm going to go around first with the gold seed beads. So I'm going to go around until here. So, and I'm just going to do 2 and 3. Picking up 2. And 3. I think there. Yep. And 3. And 3 back. So this is basically your first embroidery stitch again. And go on top of the shibori. Just kind of stick it in there. Even though it's only a little bit of shibori showing, just want to make sure that you don't see any when your project is finished. People go, "Wow, how did you manage that? Where did that thread, where did that shibori silk go?" It's a secret. And now I only have space enough for one more. So I'm going to pick up that last one and I'm going to just shove it underneath that bump there to get it in there. And now we need to go back to make that line a little bit smoother. And I'm going back all the way to the end, by the way. Just want to add that. and back again to the other side. So we got pretty smooth run of delicas, and it's very hard to work like this because I'm right-handed, so I would be working on the left side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start here, and then I'm going to go curve around with my Swarovski over there. So tying this off. And making 3 more knots. And now I'm going to start from here on out. Gonna leave some space, which we'll fill up later. And I took several colors Swarovski to see the ones who match it. Oh, that's pretty. So I'm going to do about 3 of these and add that in there. What we need now is seed beads. These are size 11/0, so I'm picking up a seed bead galvanized gold, and I have no clue what color that is, but it's very pretty, goes very nicely with that. And we're going to pull that down. And then you have to stick it back a little bit because the Swarovskis have to be on top. So where you normally would go in here, you would have to kind of measure what it would be like if that seed bead stands up. So you gotta go, because you gotta give that Swarovski room, right? You understand what I'm saying? They need to be sort of flat, and the Swarovski need to be in between there, like that. Now, very carefully, don't stick up in the same spot, but you're gonna go up in that same seed bead. Pick up a Swarovski and a seed bead, and I think it's about here. There, I got 2 now. Turn it around, and you can see where you came out, and just kind of not in the same spot, just a little bit next to it. Try and pick up that seed bead. Another Swarovski and a seed bead, and just, this is like, you gotta have the feeling for that. Know what I'm saying? And maybe some orange to go with that, or pink. Pinking it up a bit. Well, maybe in another round. That's really pretty. That goes really nicely together. So, going that about here, I would say. Back in that same one. Picking up another one. And a seed bead. And how do you measure it? Basically where the bicone ends, I would say, right there. And then up again in that same seed bead. And now I'm going to add 3 seed beads. I'm just going to go take that down like that, instead of adding another Swarovski. Going back up in that seed bead that is attached to the Swarovski. Picking up the 3 again and positioning them a little better. Okay. Going back up. Go into the 3, and into the Swarovski. Now add a seed bead into the next Swarovski. A seed bead into the next Swarovski. A seed bead into the next Swarovski. Oh, that's a little small, tiny seed bead. Need a bigger one. Seed bead, Swarovski, seed bead, Swarovski, and now go down in that seed bead because that is kind of standing up. So if you go down and you come up again in that same area, pick up that seed bead, and now you can manipulate it to go in there. And then next to the seed bead, just go down. Going a little bit to the front where I still have room for 3 seed beads. 1, 2, 3, and I'm going into that Swarovski. I'm going to go back all the way up. And in. So, how does that look to you? It's pretty. So that's how you add your Swarovskis in the most prettiest way. There's as you can see, a nice flow, and yeah, basically that's how to do the Swarovskis. What else is there? Oh, yeah, we're going to add some. Gonna tie this off. Some bugles. So I got little tiny bugles here, and we're going to add just a couple of them, not to go too nuts. The bugles are pretty sharp, so you want to make sure that they're protected. I'm going to protect them with a 15O red seed bead, and then I'm going to go into my bugle, and then I'm going to pick up an 11O, which is like a similar color to what my bugle is like. But you can use any other color you like, of course. So I'll pull that down, and then I'm going to say where I want it exactly, and I want it about here, trying to stay inside the circle. And with the second stitch you can still manipulate where exactly you want that bugle. So if you want to move it a little bit over, then just kind of move it over a little bit. And you're going to go through all seed bead, bugle, and seed bead again, and then you're just going to push that down. And now your bugle is protected. So go next to the red seed bead to add your next seed bead. But make sure you got a little bit of space there, so the seed beads don't smash on top of each other. Seed bead, 15O bugle, and an 11O, and then just go next to that other bugle. Back in there. just go in front of that seed bead first before you go in there, so you make sure that you're positioned right. And then just kind of manipulate it and add it a little bit more next to that other bugle. Adding another red one. Trying to make sure that I'm not going through my delicates. There. 15-0, bugle 11-0. And put that about there. Now, because you got the 11-0 on the top and they can't smash into each other, but they are right positioned next to each other, you can just kind of, your project will kind of curve. So you don't have much of a curve unless you want to see the white lacy stiff underneath it, but you don't want to do that. So if you want to curve these more, make sure you got like that you're doing this on suede or something pretty, some pretty color underneath it. But right now I don't want to see any white. So, and when I do this, I want to make sure that I have an uneven number. Okay, so even numbers are no good. Even numbers don't look good on this. See, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I added another one, it would be 6. It doesn't look good for some reason. So I want to do 5 or 7, or maybe go all the way up here to the Swarovskis. And slowly kind of curving it along and manipulating with my thread when I go back. It's starting to look really pretty. Basically, it's just whatever your imagination, where your imagination can take you, and wherever your beats can take you. Now, it kind of works the same if you have pearls, you know, they also need the room to stand up. So, I think I gave you enough ideas for now on how to add the Swarovskis, how to do the bezel, and how to do this, and just finish it up the way you like. And I say tune in on the next video to see how you add the back and how you close that up and how to make that look pretty. Okay, well that's it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will soon be back with the finished product.